All right, Alec, welcome back to the wonderful world of Shrek.
All right, so I want to set the record straight before we go into it. I know I had said in the past in past videos I had seen this musical before, and I had, but as we got further along into it, I realized that I don't know if I had ever finished the musical.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I'm just gonna say that before I have any sort of impressions about it. But so I haven't seen the whole thing. Um, and my memory of it was that I really enjoyed it. So
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, we're here to talk about Shrek the musical
Shrek
today.
the musical, which is like, I mean, it's right out of the Shrek universe, but it's weird that it's included in the collection, and it's just it's almost like a Shrek adjacent thing. But
Yeah, it is kind of interesting that it was on it was on that Blu-ray disc. I thought that was
I
kind of
guess it's a
interesting.
DreamWorks theatrical production.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was actually like DreamWorks had some part to do with it.
they're trying to compete with Disney's Broadway
Yeah.
productions, I guess. I don't know how successful this was for them. I think it was on Broadway for a couple of years, so I
Hmm.
don't know. But
I don't know. Like I said, when we watched Hamilton, I didn't really watch any musicals before. So this
mm,
is like a very limited experience watching any sort of live productions in general.
mm.
So this was interesting. There's
Yeah. So I'm going to mend a little bit. I still think that
are
I
you gonna
still enjoyed.
backpedal?
Huh?
Are you gonna backpedal?
Now I'm not backpedaling entirely. I still really enjoyed it. I still had a really good time. I think a lot of the songs are very good. I think there's
Hmm.
a lot of really great production with it. I found out some interesting information that actually some of the songs changed during the Broadway production.
Hmm.
So I think Donkey Pot Pie, that song, like further along into the run, that song was changed and it became a completely different song.
Hmm.
Which, I mean, that song wasn't very good, so I can kind of understand that. That song was really, it was honestly, that song was terrible. So I'm kind of probably a good thing that that one changed.
Shrek the musical. There's some really wild stuff, and there's some also some really scary. Some of these characters really scare me in this
Really,
movie.
really
Right.
scare you. Okay, so first off, I did not remember the fact that we had all towards the beginning there was a lot of extended time. Like there was a whole musical number or two, maybe and a half, a musical number and a half, with the ensemble, which included Pinocchio,
No.
the Three Little
I feel
Pigs.
the same way about the ensemble as I did in the actual movies.
I was like, what the hell are they doing here?
Like,
That's
get
what
him
I
out
all
of
could
here.
think. I was like, yeah, I was like, stop this, stop. There was
Pinocchio, I
like,
still hate Pinocchio in this movie too.
yeah, he's still. Oh, he's the worst he's ever been in this movie. He's terrible. I hated every moment he was on screen.
But like they try
Um,
to integrate the pigs, just like they try to integrate the pigs in the other one, and all these little side characters. I'm like, oh
I
god,
was like, yeah, it was real.
oh
It was
god,
pretty.
that was the most cursed part of the movie with all these fairy tale creatures came out. They're really scary.
Yeah, I could understand why Farquaad was trying to get rid of him. It was just
It's
like,
like I'm
geez,
with you,
they're
yeah.
they're pretty cursed, man. I
They
understand.
they, they got us though. They
Um,
got us. We're criticizing them for being freaks. They
yeah.
just let the freak flag fly in the end.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get into that
In
later.
the
The
Greatest Showman, this is me moment that they had. Let the freak flag
We'll
fly.
get into that. Trust me, we'll get into that because I have a lot
We'll
of thoughts
unpack
about
that.
that. I have a lot of thoughts about that one.
I'm just gonna put
But
it out there. I'm not a fan of Shrek in this movie. The character. I hate the voice. First of all,
really,
it
see,
bothers
I
me.
liked him a lot. So, oh no, I had been thinking about this all day. I had the actor's name. I was
Uh,
literally thinking about this while I was working. I was like, yeah, he's been in Broadway productions before. I've actually seen some of the stuff, or at least heard some of the music that he's done. And I can't remember his name
yeah, I don't remember either. Even though
now.
I just saw it.
I know Sutton Foster because she's a darling. She's awesome.
She's the best part of
She's the best part of
the.
the movie by far. Yeah, I would agree. Um, Guy who played
So
Donkey was all right.
he's all right.
He was all right.
He's like more of the same. He was like really going for the same kind of thing. Like he had his own flair on it,
Mm-hmm.
but it's still like the same kind of Eddie
Very
Murphy take on it almost.
donkey energy, big
Very
donkey
donkey
energy.
energy.
Um, yeah,
But
I
Fiona was wild in this movie.
yeah.
She took a
Um,
real twist on that character there, and she was like, hyper aggressive at points. So yeah.
She was like bipolar,
And then
kind
yeah,
of.
she was really weird in other
Yeah.
moments. I'm like, okay, wow.
I honestly I really liked the
I
take on
was
the
I
character a
was here
lot.
for it. Yeah, it was a lot more
Yeah.
interesting than when we got in actual Shrek. Like you don't really have much of a connection to Fiona in the original Shrek. I feel like.
But that's the thing. That's what I really actually really liked about it. So my favorite song in the whole thing, um, just I guess we'll just throw it out there was is the crap, I don't remember the name of it, but it's the one where it's all the different ages of Fiona,
Oh, okay.
where she's growing up. That's my favorite song of the whole thing. I that was I think when I realized, wow, I really like this back when I watched it the first time because I was
Hmm.
like, it's just such a fun song. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, like
It's just like it's got a really good.
it's interesting how they unpack some of the stuff in this that like you kind of gloss over in the actual movie.
Mm,
And they introduced some weird story threads at points where I'm like, oh, I don't know why they added that. Like Lord Farquaad's father, that was a little weird, but
yeah, that was bizarre and it was weird. Yeah, it was weird.
and then they added all the fairy tale creatures at the wedding. Like they all had to come too. I'm like, okay.
So like I thought the gag also that with Farquaad was just going to be, oh, that's just like a little funny joke to explain that he's really short. But
Hmm.
no, then they then like used it to be like, ha, we got you, and I was like, this just feels gross. Like I don't know, there's just something about it that just felt wrong to me. It was like okay, it was
How did
like,
you feel about Lord Farquaad in this movie?
oh, he's
In the
awesome.
musical,
He
yeah,
was awesome. He was fantastic. He played him perfectly. It was
wild,
great.
and he has little legs out.
Yeah,
Little legs.
that number. His all of his numbers were really fun. They were they were just really wild. So yeah, they
I gotta tell you, in the first half of this movie or musical, I was not really into it. I'm like, I'll take it or leave
really.
it. And then I felt like the second half was better for me.
I I liked. I think I'm kind of with you a little bit. I think there's some weaker elements of the first half,
Hmm.
especially like the ensemble stuff. To me, Shrek really to me because we get to kind of really know Shrek a little bit more. I would say we know him, get to know him better in the musical than we sort of do the um, in the movie. Because in the movie he's just like, I just want to get left alone. Nobody likes me. But like in this, we get like some of his wants and dreams, like what he wants out of life, which
Hmm.
is really great. Yeah, I mean, I just think that was it was a lot more he was a lot more interesting of a character, I would say, that even just in the first film. I mean, like he
Definitely in
doesn't
the
have to
first
be the
film, yeah.
yeah. Um, I think that I think I found that the earliest part, basically once he gets to that Fiona song, I think that it just gets far more interesting after that. So it's like probably like this a third of the way through the first act is when that's when it really picks up for me.
Well, yeah, I guess
Um,
it is basically when Fiona is present is when the correlation to when
yeah,
I like the movie.
yeah. It starts to get the production just got a lot more interesting to me.
And then
Um,
their awkward dynamic, I
yeah,
was here for it. For some reason, I feel like it worked better here than it did in the movie, because I mean they did the musical montage thing in the movie to
hmm.
kind of like go through their relationship. And in this one, they actually had like some weird interaction of showing how they're both so weird, and then they had a whole like musical number of them farting and burping and like they had butt on butt action. It was wild. That's
Butt on butt action.
where the movie really took off for me.
That was well, yeah. I mean, I like the song where they were both arguing about how terrible their childhoods were.
Yeah, yeah.
That
I
was
think I
great.
got you beat.
Yeah, I think I get you beat. Yeah, that was great. That was great. I love that. All of their interactions, their relationship, I felt like was fleshed out so well in this, and basically all those moments were really great. I'm totally with you. Um, I also really like Shrek's song to Donkey. This kind of his solo number. That, like I was saying, you get to know Shrek a little bit. He basically, what's awesome about it is he basically describes everything that he had just done,
Hmm.
but he's like, but I want to actually be like recognized for it. Like I want to be a hero, and I want to save a princess and everything. But it's like it's almost like because he knows he's an ogre, he doesn't even like really acknowledge he's done any of that stuff. It's just like I'm just here to do this so I can go back to my home and just get my life back in order. So it's like no, but you are being everything that you say. It's just this wonderful, not really juxtaposition, but it's this wonderful like the character doesn't realize that he is everything that he says he already is, but because of society and because of just the way he was brought up, he doesn't even realize how like he's just gotta grasp life by the horns, you know. So yeah, I really like that song a lot too.
It's interesting the certain lines that they brought from the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like they brought that she lives with 7 other men, but she's not easy. They threw
Yeah, I
that
know.
in there,
They threw that in. I mean, it's a great line. That makes me laugh every time I think about
and
it.
and a couple other lines they mixed in there, like, oh, that's straight from the movie, where he was like, it's people. Oh, I forget the line. It was like the world that seems to have a problem with me. That line
Yeah,
that I really liked in the movie originally.
good line.
Yeah, they brought that one
I,
over.
one of the things that I found very funny, which was something new to this, where he was speaking of the "she's not easy," or the but when Farquaad was like trying to pick, he's like, "Oh, which one do I pick?" And everyone's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." He's like, "Not there is no four." Like, that made me crack up. That was
Yeah,
so good.
they had a couple of gags like that that were actually funny. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay, wow,
yeah, yeah. No, I was genuinely laughing. I had a pretty good time with this movie.
Mhm. I will say, as far as the musical goes, I don't think I will like be dying to listen to this music.
I
I
I
don't.
agree. I
There's no
agree with
real
you.
standouts for me that I'm like they're super memorable as songs for me personally.
I 100% agree with you. So I think it's good. I think the musical numbers are well written, but there's nothing here that's like, wow, this music is amazing, or
Yeah.
like, wow, I'm gonna remember that. I like the only one I remember is the Fiona one, just because it's very simple. Yeah, I
Was
mean,
it
even the
Great Big Wonderful World? Is that what it's called?
that one's
Or
reprised
did
a
they
couple
like?
of times. Yeah, they bring that back a couple of times. Is that the stand-in? Was that the stand-in for Smash Mouth at the beginning?
Oh, what do you
What was
mean?
the one? Remember how he breaks out of the outhouse, and
Uh,
then it's like, oh, it's
oh
not
yeah,
Smash Mouth, and
yeah,
it's like, oh, it's a little weird now.
but they
But
did end on "I'm a Believer" for the
they
fans.
did, and that was fun. And it seemed like I sounded like the whole audience was getting in on it, which was
Maybe.
fun. I think that was fun. I thought that was a good way to end it. Um, so yeah, so alterations to the story. So we get more Shrek backstory in this.
First of
Um,
all, the initial scene where it's the parents and Shrek, that was
mhm.
funny how they did that reveal. But I'm also like, we know from Shrek the Third that canonically Shrek's father tried to eat him. This guy doesn't seem like he tried to eat him.
Well, he did send him away.
He sent him
He'd be
away.
like, and he's like, yeah, you're gonna be hated. Get out of here.
But
Maybe he did try to eat him. I don't know.
right.
Earlier on in his life, and
Hmm.
then his mom convinced him, hey, don't eat him. Just let him go. You know. I saw a couple of cute things, little like references. While that scene was going on, you actually saw Harold and the Queen's name, who I always forget.
I
They were
always forget
actually
Geraldine or something.
they were bringing Fiona. They crossed paths. The child Fiona
I didn't even
was
notice
like,
that one.
yeah, child Fiona was like getting, and she kind of like makes eye contact, and when he's going up the steps. So really cool. The blocking and the staging was really fun in this in the musical. There had a lot of really good sets, and costuming was honestly really great too. I think it won a Tony for best makeup and costuming. I don't know if
Hmm.
costuming, but I think it did for makeup, which is reasonable because I felt like the makeup for Shrek was honestly pretty good.
Right.
Um, and just all the other characters too, despite how atrocious and horrifying I am every time Pinocchio's around.
Hmm. What did
Um,
you think of Gingy?
it was cute. I thought it was cute how the little fairy princess like was doing the pantomime, the voice, the
Yeah.
puppet. That was cute. I liked that.
I was
Um,
terrified when they said bring out the cookie. I thought they were gonna bring out a dude in like in the whole
oh yeah, I know, right?
costume.
That would that have been horrifying? That would have been weird. Um, I like how the magic, the mirror on the wall is like a projection, which is fun.
He reprised his
Um,
role visually from the
yep,
movie.
yep. I'm trying to think of any other like really cool or interesting things. So the dragon was like a big puppet. like a
Yeah,
huge thing on stage. That was fun. I liked that. That was neat, even though that musical number was real bad.
it was a lot. There was
It
like too much going
but
on, and I felt like it was a little too dark at times. I would have been interested to see because a lot of the times they did really close up angles and stuff.
yeah,
I would have liked to see what it actually looked like for everyone watching.
yeah. It felt like there were a few times where the close-ups really added to the experience. So there was one time where Fiona like turns around and like looks like makes eye contact with Shrek like really well. That was like, wow, that's great. I love that. I think that was like the wedding scene. I think she makes
Yeah.
like really that was like beautiful. I was like, that's awesome. But then there were other times where it was very I agree, it was very distracting. I
Mm.
was like, it would have been nice to have like a wide shot to get like what the audience was seeing here.
That's why I felt like it almost didn't look as good to the audience because then like some of the
Mm,
scenes seemed like they'd be really dark other than little spots. So I wonder how it
yeah,
translated to actually watching it in person. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm not sure. But they did have that scene where they had a little Puss in Boots
yeah. Puss in
cameo,
Boots. That was the other reference, the little cameo that
and then there was a
I
whole
wanted to bring
wild
in.
like cow jumping over the moon, and then like the plate and spoon getting
The
pulled
plate and
over by
spoon.
the cops. So like, what in the
Yeah, it's
world?
like what is happening right now? That was very weird.
And the whole
Um,
inflatable deer thing. She had an inflatable deer
yeah,
that
that was
she murdered,
strange.
and
I loved the. Did you just have some of the mushrooms down by the? Because she was just like really chipper that morning,
and
like too chipper. um,
it was so weird. Like, obviously they did this kind of in the movie with the whole helmet thing when he was like take off the
mhm,
helmet, and it's like obviously you can already see that he's an ogre or he's green. This one it
yeah,
was even more. It was like you could see his whole face, and then she's like,
yeah,
"Take off your helmet." Why? What do
yeah.
you
With
mean
that,
take off the helmet?
yeah,
But that's
yeah.
just
It in the movie you can kind of get away with it a little bit because they were in sort of in like a dark area for the most part.
mm,
But yeah, in this it was like because stage lighting, you have to. I mean, you can't always have mood lighting. You know, that's only used for specific periods of time. So yeah, stage lighting, it's like it's very obvious
I
to
feel like
everyone.
you could have gotten a helmet that at least pulled over, right?
Maybe a little more. I don't know.
Because they
Maybe
had it
maybe they
all.
tried that. Maybe they tried that in rehearsals and he kept running into stuff.
But then there was a point like once the inflatable deer came in and then the Pied Piper made an appearance randomly, then
That was the
it got weird.
weirdest. That guy. Oh yeah, it was very weird. That was bizarre. I was like, what's happening right now? Like I said that I was like, what is going on right now? And my one of my housemates was watching it with me. He's like, do you mean like? I was like, where's this going? Like, what is this? What's the story? Like, what's happening
It
right
seemed like there
now?
was a shift, and
Yeah,
then weird stuff started happening. But then like you got a little more aggressive Fiona, and then you went to the I think I got you beat song, and then it was like okay
yeah.
now we're getting back on track here.
But
Uh,
I liked Fiona being like kind of
I like the aggression,
weird
yeah,
and yeah, weird, dysfunctional,
yeah, I like
bipolar.
all of that
Yeah,
honestly.
it was great. It made her more fleshed out and it made her like more interesting. So it
Because
was
I
like
thought they
this.
almost weren't gonna do the the misunderstanding thing that happened in the movie. I thought they were gonna cut it out. That seemed like where it was going. Like they were doing something different with it,
Yeah,
but they just
but
added some different, more interactions before that.
yeah,
It was
yeah.
interesting, but I think they handled it well. The
I
whole
I think this one was handled better than the movie did almost. Like
yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of that trope. Um, I don't think Shrek is the worst offender when it comes to it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they made it work in terms of the musical. But then things took a huge downward turn for me when we had the ensemble come back
Yeah.
and then we start changing the entire message of the movie, which was very weird to me.
Mm-hmm.
Also, there was a point where Pinocchio says that he got Dutch elm disease in Tijuana. Did you remember that?
Yeah.
I remembered that because I was like, what? I was like, that's not cool. And then let your freak flag fly. It was
So
like,
I mean, yeah, it's obviously it's not. It's like adjacent to the theme of the movie, right? It's like
not,
accepting who you are, like
yeah, but it's like we're kind of trying to jam some sort of other message in here, and I was not really here for it.
Yeah, it
I was
was
like,
almost
I get it, Broadway, I get it. You got to get your token wokeness in here. I get it. All right,
I
but
think
it's
yeah
just
they were
like
trying to like expand it to, as if like the whole cast was included in the message. Like there was never that impression in the movie that like Pinocchio and Gingy and the pigs all tied into the theme. And it's like, oh, they don't accept themselves either.
none of that really needed to be in the movie in the musical. None of that really had to.
Yeah,
It
because
just kind of padded the time out, and it was like
because
this
yeah, the
is
fairy tale creatures were always like ostracized, but they never really had none of those characters had issues in the movies at all. You know, it was really just focused on Shrek as an ogre, and then
yeah.
they were there. They were only inconvenienced in the whole fairy tale slave trade in the beginning, and then
It
they were just kind of there.
it almost felt a little bit like when they were writing the musical, they're like, okay, well, we have to make all these elaborate costumes for all of these characters, so and makeup and everything, so we have to use it more
Yeah, I
because
know.
we can't introduce them here, we have to use them more, so we have to use them more, and we have to give them a musical number. We can't just bring them in at the end. Like, honestly, it could have worked if we didn't need a whole musical number. They could have just been like, hey, we don't need to stand for any of this. Like, think about, like, I almost didn't think we were getting a musical number until one just started, and I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this
We're
now.
doing this now.
um it's like, but they could have like stood up, they could have like stormed in and done this all the same thing, even though I almost kind of weirdly felt bad for Farquaad when they did
Yeah.
that, because I was like, okay, so I guess we just got to take a dump on him now. And it's like, I get it, he's a dick, right? He's not a nice person. He's the villain, but
But his father
um,
left him or something. So
yeah. Well,
so
no, it turned out he was 38 or whatever when he was living in his dad's basement,
yeah, it
or
was
something,
yeah, yeah,
or something. That was,
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like
that part was kind of
you're
that was
28 in
funny.
in your mom's
Yeah,
basement or whatever.
yeah. When Grumpy showed up, that was, I don't know, it was funny, but then he gets smoked immediately, so it doesn't
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but all the stuff plays out pretty much at the end, pretty much the same way it does in the movie, and it's really, nice and sweet, and it's a nice happy ending, and I like the ending.
I
It's
like the
good.
ending.
I just
Yeah.
don't like the fairy tale characters being overly involved. That stuff was annoying to
No, they
me.
need to learn their place a little bit.
Yeah, yeah, you're not part of the Shrek on the hierarchy of
Not
Shrek
my Shrek.
characters. You're far below Farquaad even. So
Yeah, I mean that's how I felt in the movie, and that's how I felt in this. Is that the main characters are cool, and
yeah,
all the side characters I never really liked them, and they even worked in the God bless us everyone. Gingy saying says it again just for the
yeah,
fans in this movie. So
yeah, yeah. I can't really think of too much else. I again I can't. A lot of good. There's a lot of good stuff in this. I don't think I'm gonna make a huge effort to see it very frequently. Maybe just like a couple, like the Fiona stuff is really great. I like her a lot.
mm,
I mean, Sutton Foster is just a darling. She's just lights up the stage, and she's just an
she was great.
extremely talented performer. I've seen and listened to her perform in other Broadway stuff, and she's just great.
She
But
carried so much of this movie for me. If like they switched her out with someone else, it might have just like might
yeah,
have tanked the movie there. So,
she's wonderful. Yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. I think I said pretty much everything
hmm.
I feel like saying about this movie.
So what
Um,
score would you give it out of 10?
I think I give this a 7, just a straight 7.
7.
Um, yeah, yeah, I think that's about right. I would, on a tier list, I would put this below Shrek 1 and 2, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of cool stuff, interesting things that they do in the musical. The musical numbers, for the most part, pretty good, inoffensive, but not very memorable.
Yeah.
But staging, uh, costuming, all that stuff is really interesting and entertaining to watch. Really like Broadway. So that stuff is really fun for me to kind of like look at and sort of think about and absorb. But yeah, it didn't blow my mind. So it's not my favorite piece of Shrek media anymore.
Yeah, even
Yeah, it
everything's
has been
changed.
yeah, it's down third now or fourth. It's below, yeah, it's below Shrek 1 and 2 and 4. It's like it's second to last
It's
now.
fifth, right?
It's fifth,
One,
yeah.
2, 4, Puss in Boots.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
fifth. Crazy, huh?
I mean, I think we were on the cusp of greatness here, right? Like, if you had some
It's
really stellar like songs that are
yeah.
memorable and that I would want to repeat, and
It's
you cut
just
out the fairy tale freaks.
yeah,
They're
it's just not
freaks. No one will say it. I'll say
yeah.
it.
No one will say it, but I will. Yeah, it's just like it's like almost there. It is almost there. Like this could have been an 8 or an 8.5
Mhm.
easily. I think but
Just for
it's
Fiona, I almost want to give it a 7.5, but I think I'm there with a 7
yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So Tarqaron score 7.
Yeah. So
Uh,
it's good. I think I honestly for Shrek fans worth a watch. Absolutely. If you like Shrek, give it a watch. It might there might be something there for you. I mean, I still enjoyed it. So
yeah. For Fiona and for Farquaad.
yeah,
The
Farquaad's
most
another
standout for me.
huge standout. Yeah, he's just absolutely lights up that stage. He's just such a dick, and it's so great.
And he's so quirky. He's so
Yeah.
quirky too.
Yes, very much.
All right, that's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
That's it.
So next week we'll have the shorts. All the Shrek shorts we're gonna come and talk about
Yeah,
in a special
wild.
episode, and then that'll be it. That'll be the end of the road.
That's the Shrek end.
But until then, what video would you recommend our viewers go watch now?
I think they should go and check out our top 5 animated films that define us.
Oh.
You should go check that out.
We're gonna have to revise it and you're gonna have to get Shrek Forever After in there.
No, no,
Yeah,
I
one
do
of
like
these
that
days.
movie a lot, though.
All right, yeah, do that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our podcast feed. Like the video. Leave a comment. Hit the notification bell. Like us on Twitter. Like us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook, and subscribe to us on Instagram. Okay.
Yeah, do all those things. Yeah.
Tarqaron TWO.